But honestly, it was, I realized at a young age how to change myself was through discipline. And the military didn't teach me that. It was something I realized I had zero discipline, zero self-discipline. And I realized I have to start developing this. And I started really because I was horrible at reading and I was horrible at writing. I have so many learning disabilities, it's not even funny. So I just sit down at the table and spend so much time in this reading and writing and learning. And that kind of translated over to my self-discipline with working out. So that's where it started. I started when I was about 16 years old and said, well, I have a fourth grade reading level. Let me go ahead now and start really focusing because I'm not going to get in the military because I got to pass the test. So that's where it started for me. It's more important to own your weaknesses. You have to really triple down on those, man. Because why? You want to become a full human being. We like to run away from weaknesses. Like, for instance, if you're good at running, all you want to do is run. If you're great at reading, you have several books. But we don't do those things that we're not good at. So for me, I realized, shit, man, like I keep on running away from these things I'm not good at. I have to dive into these things. I have to become one with these things. And that's what happened. And so I own them both. And I talk very openly about them both. No, I can't do it. I can't do it. There may be some days I get up with poopy pants and I'm like, you know what, man? Fuck this, man. Like, what am I training for? I have no race in the docket. Why am I having this such a structured life? Why? And I'm like, you know what? I'm good. I'm done. I retire every day. I'm done with this shit. And I sit around and I say, okay. And then this is my thought process. So you want to be normal. So you just want to be like everybody else that roams the world, not knowing the power that's in them, being fine with being mediocre. You want to go back to who you were, huh, David? I'm like, fuck that, man. Not every day, it's those bad days. It's those bad days. I see a whole bunch of people walking around out here who have no idea how talented they truly are. Now I'm talking about talent, like some God-given ability. Talent that sometimes you have to hone, you have to work on, and you have to harness yourself. And they just walk around just on their phones, just clueless to how powerful they are. The biggest thing you have to do is shut off technology. You have to go dark. And what I mean by that is you have to be quiet in your mind. Get away from people. We love being around people. We love talking. We love parties. We love all that shit. It's okay to be alone. It's also okay to be unhappy. It's okay to be unhappy sometimes, man. It's okay to say, you know what, man, I'm fucked up. So you gotta go to the truth first. Who are you? Get really accountable and say, okay, who am I? What's the truth about me? Get to that dark place in your mind. Figure out, it may take months, it may take years. Figure out your purpose. Figure out what you want to be in life. And then from there, okay, I have my purpose. It may take a long time. No one knows their purpose because it's too loud. Find your purpose. From there, all right, you got to start planning. People love the planning phase because it's very comfortable. Then from the planning phase, you got to go to execution. So the execution phase, what we all hate, because that's where the real work begins. And that's when the failure happens and the failure. So, but, you know, that's kind of how you have to do it. My grandfather, when I was growing up, my grandfather looked at me and he said, you know what, man, you're not going to amount to shit because of how you hang your head. That's all he said. And as true and as real as it was, it hurt. And a lot of us, what we do is we hide from the truth. We don't want to tell people the truth. We see people every day, loved ones, friends, family members. We see them walking around. Everybody sees them. And they're not amounting to shit. They're fucking gaining weight. They're not going to school. But we live in a kinder, gentler world. So we don't say shit to them. We just watch them fail because why? We don't know what to say or how to say it. Or we may lose them as friends or they may not love us anymore. You're watching someone fail. The best thing you may ever do for someone is say, hey, guess what, brother? You're a piece of shit right now. You may not say it just that way, but that's what you may want to say to somebody. Look, man, I love you, brother, but your life sucks. You are so much better than this, man. You are so much better. I'm watching you fail and I can't do it. And I also believe that we're going to end up one day meeting a maker if you believe in one. And I believe that maker knows everything about you. Everything about you. Knows I was going to be here and talking to you. Knows everything. But you also have a choice to make. You have a choice to make. You have choices. And the one thing that scares me is getting to heaven and not being what I was supposed to be. And I believe that God has a chart, and he looks at the chart and he puts it in front of you when you get to heaven. He says, hey, this is what you're supposed to be. And one of my biggest fears in life was to see that chart and not have every block checked off. You know, I want to make sure that I'm constantly pursuing whatever it is I'm pursuing just to be the best I can, just constantly grinding myself into a fine powder, you know, but doing it in a smart way. Like I talked about, you can constantly grind yourself into a point where you're just sick. There's a happy medium of grinding. So that's my purpose now, to continue to push myself so others can see what is possible.
I need a mission. We all need a mission. That's what life should be, is a mission. That's what gives your life purpose and focus and drive and ultimately satisfaction. Now, that mission can be the job you work at. It can be providing for your family, or it can be getting better at jiu-jitsu, or stronger at Olympic lifting, or starting a business that you want to grow and build and take over the world. Be clear in your mind in what you intend to achieve. Know what you are going to do. That doesn't seem like too much to ask. And you wouldn't think it would be too much for people to ask in their lives either. But how often do we see people going through their lives without knowing what they are trying to do, without having any intent, without having a clear mission? It can be pretty easy to focus on the battle that's right in front of your face. And when you're doing that, sometimes you can lose track of the long-term goal. But I want to have that long-term goal so embedded in my mind that I never lose sight of it. Ever. And those little tasks and projects and short-term goals that you tackle, they need to lead toward that strategic victory. Winning the long war. And we get very caught up in instant gratification. We want results now. We want the shortcut to the winner's podium. And sometimes, you know, when we don't get that short-term glory that we want, we lose track of those long-term goals. And you look up in 6 weeks, or in 6 months, or in 6 years, and you've made no progress. None. You never moved. You might even be further from your goal than you were. Why? Why did you let that happen? It's because you lost sight of that long-term goal. And at some point, after you lose sight of that goal and years have gone by, you think to yourself, maybe I can't. Maybe I can't do it. And so you give up. You let it fade. And you settle. You settle for mediocrity. You settle for average. You settle for, oh well. But no. Don't do that. Embed that long-term goal in your mind. Burn it into your soul. think about it and write about it and talk about it and hang it up on your wall. But most important, do something about it.